Peter Parker publicly revealed his identity as Spider-Man. Now exposed, he's no longer just a hero, he's a target. He also discovers the truth about the Negative Zone prison, where unregistered superheroes are being held, which pushes him to make a huge decision: go against Iron Man and the Superhuman Registration Act. Instead, he chooses to meet Captain America. Captain America and Falcon walk through a worn-down alley, heading toward that meeting point. Falcon questions the decision immediately, asking if Steve is really going to meet Peter. Steve confirms it. He's going. Falcon warns him straight up that this could easily be a trap, and Steve calmly admits that possibility has already crossed his mind. Falcon presses further, asking if Steve actually trusts Peter. That's where Steve makes an important distinction. This isn't about trust. Falcon pushes again. If trust isn't the reason, then why even go? And Steve's answer reveals his mindset. The situation is bigger than trust. It's about something deeper. Steve then breaks down the possibilities logically. Yes, Tony Stark could absolutely have manipulated Peter into doing all this just to get close to them. And yes, Peter might even go along with it. But Steve points out something key. He knows Peter, worked with him. And in his experience, Peter Parker is a terrible liar, because he respects the truth too much. When Peter lies, it shows. And what Steve saw in Peter's face the night before wasn't deception. It was pure, unfiltered truth. Falcon doesn't disagree, but he adds another layer of realism. Even if Peter believes what he's saying, that doesn't mean he isn't being used. Stark could have maneuvered him into this exact position. So even if Peter is honest, the situation itself could still be a setup. And if Peter is being used, then Steve might be walking straight into being used too. And that's dangerous. As they part ways, Falcon leaves Steve with one final thought. It's possible, Steve. And you know it's possible. Captain America reaches the rooftop meeting point and stands there alone under the night sky. The moon glowing in front and the city stretched out below. Then Spider-Man arrives. He swings in smoothly and lands right in front of Captain America. For a moment, neither of them speaks. They just stare at each other. This isn't a normal meeting. And then, in classic Spider-Man fashion, he breaks the silence with humor. So, come here often? Captain America tells Spider-Man that what he did was incredibly brave. Spider-Man thanks him, but Captain America immediately adds, foolish, but brave. Spider-Man asks, so it was the wrong thing to do? Captain America replies, I didn't say that, but it does put you at an even greater risk. Peter explains why he did it. He wanted to send a message to people to help them understand what's really going on behind everything. But Steve points out the harsh reality. The media completely ignored the truth about the prison and instead focused on painting Peter as someone challenging the government. Peter flips that back on Steve, telling him that people are calling him a traitor, comparing him to Benedict Arnold. Steve responds calmly that people have been saying even worse things about Peter lately. That leads Peter to ask the real question. So, how do you do it? The pressure, the hate, the entire country turning against him. Steve doesn't answer immediately, but Peter notices the look on his face. He knows Steve has a story. He pushes him to tell him. Come on, Grandpa Steve. Tell us your story. But then Peter gets serious. He removes his mask, showing vulnerability, and asks something deeper. When the whole country is against you, when it's all bearing down on you like some kind of 10-ton weight, and you don't know your own heart anymore sometimes, how does someone like Captain America handle that? Especially when he represents the country itself. How does the man who is the country react when the country goes a different way? Steve asks if Peter really wants to know, and Peter answers honestly. He doesn't just want to know, he needs to know. Captain America finally answers by going back to the origin of his beliefs. He remembers the first time he truly understood what it meant to be an American, and more importantly, what it meant to be a patriot. He takes himself and Pete back to his childhood, when he was just a young boy, around 12 years old, long before he became Captain America. He remembers reading something written by Mark Twain, and the way he describes it makes it clear that this wasn't just an ordinary passage. It hit him on a level that changed how he saw the world. It struck him so deeply that he memorized it and carried it with him throughout his life, repeating it over and over as a guiding principle. The central question posed in that writing was simple but profound. In a republic, who actually represents the country? Steve explains that it's not the government, because the government is temporary and exists only to serve the people. It does not have the authority to decide what is right or wrong or define who is a patriot. He continues, "Who, then, is the country? Is it the newspaper? Is it the pulpit? Why? These are mere parts of the country, not the whole of it. They have not command. They have only their little share in the command." As he speaks, Spider-Man listens quietly, absorbing everything Captain America is saying, realizing that this isn't just a story from the past, but the foundation of Captain America's beliefs. Captain America explains that in a monarchy, the king and his family represent the country. But in a republic, it's completely different. The country is a collective voice of its people. That means every individual carries a personal responsibility to decide for themselves what is right and what is wrong. This isn't something that can be ignored or handed off to others. He emphasizes that each person must make that judgment independently, based on their own conscience, not by blindly following what the government, media, religious institutions, or public opinion tells them. He makes it clear that this responsibility is serious and cannot be pushed aside just because it's difficult or because there's pressure from authority or society. In fact, he says that giving up your own judgment in favor of outside influence, whether it's political slogans or public pressure, is a failure of that responsibility. Even if standing by your beliefs causes others to label you a traitor, what matters is staying true to what you genuinely believe is right. He then says, "If you alone of all the nations shall decide one way, and that way be the right way according to your convictions of the right, you have done your duty by yourself and by your country. Hold up your head. You have nothing to be ashamed of." Looking straight at Spider-Man, he explains that, in the end, outside voices don't matter. Not the press, not politicians, not public opinion, and not even the majority if they decide something wrong is right. What truly matters is the principle the nation was built on, the responsibility to stand up for what you believe in, regardless of the pressure or consequences. Captain America makes it clear, when the mob and the press and the whole world tell you to move, your job is to plant yourself like a tree beside the river of truth and tell the whole world, no, you move. After hearing everything Captain America has said, Spider-Man is left genuinely moved. For a moment, he's quiet, clearly processing it all, before breaking the silence with a light joke, saying he'd carry Captain America's books to school for the rest of his life. Captain America brushes it off and tells him it's time to get back to the others. Peter continues, "I mean it. I can give you my lunch. My aunt made tuna sandwiches. Again." Then both of them act, leaping off the rooftop together. As Spider-Man swings through the city, he realizes he's leaving behind everything familiar and stepping into something uncertain and dangerous. But this time, he isn't alone. He's moving forward alongside someone who will never betray his beliefs or the people who trust him. He admits to himself that after everything that's happened, it feels good to be on the right side again. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel.